Scrum and the Scaled Agile Framework, SAFe, have gained tons of popularity in the current era. Both of them are based on Agile and Lean values and principles, but at the same time, they have some key differences in the way they apply Agile thinking. In a nutshell, Scrum is a framework which is based on Agile values and principles, whereas SAFe is a scaled Agile framework. It is not Scrum. Some people believe that it's a scaled version of Scrum. Scrum is not required. You can still use Scrum when implementing SAFe. At the team's level, you can use Scrum, but it's not required. It's a scaled Agile framework. In this video, we're going to talk about the key differences between Scrum and SAFe, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to use both of these frameworks correctly. Let's start with some context. Scrum is an iterative approach to product development, where you take a big project and you're breaking down into small segments, which are then completed by small cross-functional teams over a defined period of time. In this framework, there's a big reliance on cross-functional teams, some events, some supporting roles, a cadence of delivery, which are then used all together to deliver the project within the time frame suggested. Whereas SAFe, which stands for the Scaled Agile Framework, includes a set of principles, processes, best practices, which helps organizations implement agile methodologies like Lean, Kanban, Scrum at a scaled level throughout the organization to deliver valuable products, services to customers at a faster rate. Again, in a nutshell, SAFe is typically used to scale Agile throughout the organization, whereas Scrum is used in a single or multiple cross-functional teams. I mentioned earlier that many people believe that SAFe is just scaled Scrum. No, you can still use Scrum, but it's not a requirement. Example, you can use other Agile methodologies like Kanban or Lean when implementing SAFe throughout the organization. Now, let's go through some key differences between SAFe and Scrum. Which one should you apply in your organization, implement in your organization? Let's start with a simple one, Scrum. If you have a simple organization structure, a few teams, and you want to start Agile projects, delivering valuable products, services to customers at a faster rate using Agile projects, I recommend implementing Scrum. You have a few teams, start a single team, start with a single cross-functional team and really apply the Scrum framework, the values, the principles, whereas SAFe is for large organizations. It's where you already know a bit of Agile. In teams, you're working with some methodologies, maybe Kanban, maybe Scrum, maybe Lean, and then you want to expand this Agile way of thinking and working throughout the organization. What I usually suggest when implementing Agile throughout an organization is starting with a single team. Start simple, single cross-functional team working on a product or service and show how good the Scrum framework is at delivering valuable things, valuable products and services to customers at a faster rate. If you can show that, and management, upper management, middle management, everyone in the organization can see that, everyone will be more prone to adopt Scrum and Agile throughout the organization. Then you create a second team and a third team, and you go on until you feel comfortable. And if you want to apply SAFe throughout and really scale Agile rapidly throughout the organization, you can do it. But start small, start simple with Scrum. In terms of a team structure and roles, the Scrum framework consists of a single Scrum team or multiple Scrum teams with roles, events, artifacts, and roles. A single Scrum team has around 7 to 11 people in the Scrum team. And the roles are simple. There's a product owner, a single product owner, a Scrum Master, and the development team. Whereas the SAFe framework consists of roles, events, artifacts, and rules, and also Agile teams, teams of Agile teams, large solution teams, Lean portfolio management. There are some key roles at 4 different levels, including the release train engineer, the value stream engineer, the program manager, the epic owners, and solution architects. In terms of dependencies in Scrum, the level of dependencies between teams tends to be lower than when using SAFe. In Scrum, teams are given the freedom to organize themselves between each other, between teams, and also organize their work. They are self-managed, whereas SAFe requires a high level of coordination and alignment across teams and management levels, which really increases the work dependencies. In terms of ceremonies and timeframes, when using Scrum, the team works in sprints. A sprint is a time box of around 1 to 4 weeks, where tons of ceremonies occur, like the sprint planning, the sprint retrospective, the daily Scrum. And in SAFe, pretty similar. A cycle time 2 weeks. A sprint is called iteration, and they use a plan, do, check, adjust method. It's hard to say which framework is the best because it really depends on you, your context, your organization, what works for you. But what I suggest doing is really starting with a single Scrum team. Deliver value. Start with a cross-functional team. Really deliver value, products, services. Let everyone in the organization see that Scrum works. Believe in Agile. And once they are ready to start adopting Agile throughout the organization, start with another Scrum team, a third Scrum team, a fourth Scrum team. And at some point in time, if you have a large organization, you can implement SAFe. And there's a high chance that if you have a large organization, as SAFe is extremely popular and trendy right now, that your organization will go into the implementation of SAFe. But SAFe also has some problems. First off, too many jargons and terminologies. So many terminologies when using SAFe, which includes the program, increments, the release train, the runways, the guardrails, spikes. And there's more. SAFe has even managed to change some common Agile processes, terms, to fit in their framework. Like terms like a sprint is called an iteration in SAFe. Why change it? SAFe might also be considered more of a push system instead of a pull system. When using Scrum, it's a clear pull system if you're using Scrum correctly. Developers have tons of flexibility. They are self-managed, self-organized. They can make decisions. Their opinion, the decisions that they can make really count towards what the team is building for the customer. But in SAFe, so many processes, structures, terminologies, jargons, and all that. The decision-making of developers drastically reduced. The flexibility to experiment drastically reduced. Some people feel that SAFe is not really Agile. It's more of a safe way for management, middle management, upper management to keep control while doing an Agile transformation, or more of an Agile transformation. But that's for another video. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now. And I'll see you in a few seconds.